Regarding Henry, repairs to a turkey decoy. William Hovey Smith, 2019. I'm the author of Backyard Deer Hunting, as well as Extreme Muzzleloading. And we get out in the turkey woods every year, and we have equipment accumulated over the years that occasionally needs repairing, and that's what we're doing here. I'm also the author of a new business book, Create Your Own Job Security, that talks about individual entrepreneurship at any age. And I'll have more to say about that at the end of the video. This is Hovey Smith, the Backyard Sportsman. Before we head out today, we're going to do some work on some of our decoys. I have already prepared this one, and it's actually deployed in a food plot. We have, however, another. And this is Henry here, and he is missing a tail. And we have newly arrived just today a tail. This is not made by the same maker, but we're going to adapt it to use. Surprise. Henry's tail still waits. This is a hen decoy, which I also ordered. We are also going to do some work regarding Henry whilst we're here. One thing I'm going to do is to prepare a new stake for it. I never liked the old one, it was too flimsy. So this is a fork for handling stuff in hot ovens. And we're going to trim it here, here, and we're going to make a cap out of ironwood. So Henry there, when he's out in the field, will actually turn and rotate like he's supposed to. We're going to use a hacksaw here and trim these supporting legs off right quick. Okay. Now these little rods are two valuable pieces of metal to discard. These might be used for knife pins or to fix a broken gun stock or any number of other things later. So these get saved. There we go. I'm going to put this tip on the grinder and smoothly round it, as well as put points on these ends so we can more easily stick them in soil. I'm having to open the door of my grinding cabinet here so I can get this long rod inside the cabinet. These have been shaped into chisel points, and they're pointed in the opposite direction, which is just fine. And now I'll start working on the wood. This is a leftover block of one of my favorite pieces of material in the world to work with, that is desert ironwood. And what I'm going to do is put it on the bandsaw and cut this block out here. And then we'll drill it on this side to accommodate the rod and round this portion. Desert ironwood is very hard, it's also waterproof, and when it's polished it's slick. So this is ideal material for this particular use. And see what beautiful stuff this is. Yeah, none of this gets thrown away. What I'm going to do is drill both ends of this block. I'm going to round this top because this one will actually be in contact with the decoy itself, but not to the extent of making a full-length pin out of it. Instead, I'll insert this or another slightly larger steel rod that'll actually go through the top of the decoy and then drill it from the opposite direction to hold the stake. I've rounded the top of our ironwood block, and I've also found this bolt here, which is rusted, but this is almost exactly the diameter that I need to go through the top of the decoy. So this, we're going to take this rust off with a grinding wheel here, drill, and insert in this ironwood. I'm wearing gloves because this work is going to get hot in a hurry. That's much better looking than it was. We'll put it on the belt sander for a bit and give it a nice smooth finish. It took almost as long to put the new belt on the sander as it's probably going to take to do this work. I'm also going to knock off the back edges here. Okay, now that'll work fine. Back to the hacksaw again. Although this hardened boat steel is going to be a bit more difficult to do. Okay. I'm heating the steel with the oxidizing flame of the torch here just to give it a little color. We've got our wood block and our drill vise, and it's clamped with a couple of clamps here to hold it in place. And we'll see how we do. You can see how this is actually sort of drilling something like metal. While we're waiting for our glue to set, I deployed our new Game Winner foam turkey decoy hen. And there are several things about it that I like. Among other things, the stake is much more robust. And as you look closer on the coloration, yeah, it's much more realistic. They were right about that. I like the feather detail. And even though it's just unboxed, yeah, it was easy to push out the shape, and it looks like it'll stay that way a little better. This will handle a little more wind than the other decoys I'm used to using. I'm going ahead and paint my fork here. These are little brushes available from Harbor Freight, and they're disposable, and they're just ideal. But little one-time jobs like this, where you want a small brush anyway, and you know, I can go ahead and put a coat of paint on this. This is not the optimal material to paint metal with, but it's what I got. It's here. It'll save me an 8-mile trip to town to go ahead and use it. So yeah, I'm going ahead and use what I got, and I usually do. I'm not going to paint the very top here because that's the part that goes in the wood, and I want to leave that with as least friction as possible. And that's going to turn out to be a very decent turkey steak. While I'm in shop and building stuff, I'm going to go ahead and make a hemispherical piece of wood here to hold a turkey fan I have coming. I have a piece of tropical hardwood there that's amenable to cutting on a scroll saw. So that looks like a good thing to use for raw material. It's thin enough already and it's uniform. And it's, well, strong enough certainly for the work. Well, I've got the hole located and drilled for that through bolt to hold the fan in. And I've got an outline of a potential cutout. To keep the fumble factor down when I'm assembling this thing in the dark, I'm going to take this washer and actually glue it onto my wooden base as I've cut out and painted. You can see, you can hardly tell the difference in color now. And I'm going to additionally affix it by drilling 2 holes, one here and one here, and putting 2 small pins in there. And that will make sure that this absolutely does not get lost. You put these things together in the dark quite commonly, first thing in the morning. So the number of loose components can be reduced so much the better. I have this on my vise on the drill press, and I'm using that nail to index the piece and hold it in the work. And you can see I can rotate it now around that pivot, and so we can now proceed to drill. Compared to the knife steels I usually drill, this washer was absolutely no problem at all. Drill just ate right through it. We now have Henry deployed. He's got his tail, and the Flambeau tail works very, very well. It's differently colored front and back, and the stake is well set in the soil, and the breeze is moving it a little bit, which is exactly what is desired. This is a reality series remote strutter being activated by a switch in the blind, and in a few seconds you'll see Henry actually moving under the force of the wind. For now, this is Hovey Smith, reminding you to hunt what you eat and eat what you hunt. Be legal, be ethical, be safe. Goodbye, God bless, and see you next time. I also talk about turkey hunting and backyard deer hunting. Have several things to say about it, including several hunts in extreme muzzleloading. Talk about taking turkeys with crossbows in crossbow hunting. And also in my ebook muzzleloading series, I discuss turkey hunting and hunting with muzzleloading shotguns and smoothbore muskets, as well as in muzzleloading for hunters. My new business book, Create Your Own Job Security, talks about individual entrepreneurship and how you can and should start your own businesses even as early as high school. Then, when you go to college, you take some business courses along with your major. And when you go to work for the man or industry or whatever, you keep your own little business running quietly in the background. You perfect it, have it earn a little money for you. Then suddenly, if you should be laid off in your 40s and older, when it is very difficult to be re-employed, you have your own business already established to fall back on. If you hunt turkeys like I do, this equipment is going to break on you sometime. Now, this Flambeau tail was actually an excellent piece of equipment. And I didn't have to do actually all the work I showed you here to have it installed. For more information on my books, blogs, and nearly 750 videos, you can go to my website, www.hoveysmith.com. For more information on my business book, you can go to createyourownjobsecurity.com. Good hunting and good eating from the outdoors. Goodbye, and God bless.